And developing right now, the fate of Harold Henthorn is now in the hands of the jury. Henthorn is accused of pushing his wife, Toni, off a cliff when they were on a hike in Rocky Mountain National Park. Well, closing arguments wrapped up this afternoon in about 3 hours, and during closings, the prosecution said Henthorn learned lessons from his first wife's murder, I should say, and said Henthorn told 14 different stories of his second wife's death. And to that point, the defense argued Henthorn can't tell the same story twice, but none of that proves he killed her. 7 News reporter Jennifer Kovaleski was in the courtroom today, and Jen, the prosecution didn't hold back, calling Henthorn a heartless killer.
The prosecution says he took his wife to the cliff to get rich and cash in on her insurance policy. The defense argued it was a tragic accident and there's no evidence she was pushed. For the families, they had to relive that tragic day.
It's very difficult, very nervous, very emotional, shaking as we speak.
For family and friends of Toni Henthorn, the fight for justice hasn't been easy.
It was very difficult to sit there and listen to all that. It was emotional. Cried several times.
Toni's brother and other family members were in the courtroom for the closing arguments.
The prosecution did a very good job. I think the evidence is sound. I do think that they presented an excellent case, and I think that Harold is guilty.
Henthorn's brother was also in the courtroom, but he declined to comment.
It's been a lot of up and down. We grieved. We settled with that grief. We came to some rest in knowing what had happened, and now we're grieving again.
3 years after Toni's death, friends and family are hopeful Henthorn will be found guilty, and they'll finally get the justice they've been waiting for.
This case is built about him being a money-grubbing husband, and I think that they proved that case.
Guilty. There's no other answer in my mind.
Now, Harold Henthorn didn't show a lot of emotion, but he did look down several times and shake his head as the prosecution laid out its case. Gestures Toni's family says are disrespectful. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. We're live in Denver tonight. Jennifer Kovaleski, 7 News.
And the jury will be back on Monday to continue deliberations. Harold Henthorn's first wife, Sandra, who went also by the name of Lynn, she died in a freak tire-changing accident in 1995. Now, the jury will take testimony into account regarding Sandra Henthorn's death. Henthorn has not been charged in Sandra's death, but an investigation into how she died has now been reopened. And because Toni Henthorn was killed in a national park, this is a federal case. The U.S. Department of Justice and federal prosecutors made the decision not to seek the death penalty against Henthorn. Seeking the death penalty in a federal case is a complex process involving a lot of top Justice Department officials in D.C. and a long list of aggravating factors.